Hello, everyone. And right off the bat, it looks like Plonktime has given 10 gift memberships, which seem to have gone to Selby, Andrew, Hatika, Brian, Kataria, Mavir, Finland, Danique, Zachary, and Xavian. Thank you so much for that. Let's get you a donation dance. Woohoo! Woohoo! Thank you, Zach. And thank you very much, Plonktime. Greatly appreciate the support. We are on our new streaming schedule, so hooray to those of you who like it better than the old streaming schedule, and apologies to those of you who like it less well than the old streaming schedule. But this is a good time. Oh, Pause has been a member for 3 months. Let's give Pause a fan dance. Woohoo! 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 Thank you for your support, Pause. Anti-Night on CTC, nice. I see Anti-Night around here fairly often, depending on... I think Anti-Night is one of the many people who depends on what time I'm streaming, whether we see Anti-Night around or not. But anyway, we get to start today with a Memeristor puzzle, which is always cool. And so... Pause has donated. Oops, finger slip. Sorry about the finger slip. Might want to get that checked out, but I'll get you a donation dance. Woohoo! Woohoo! Thank you, Pause. Thank you, Zach. Very much appreciated. So we always start with a puzzle voted on by the Windmill supporters. So today, that puzzle is Pumped by Memeristor. So the people who voted for this puzzle are David, Plonktime, Russ, David, Josh, Ambrose, Luda, Paulfly, and Nordy. So thank you all very much for your support. I hope you enjoy this and that I do it justice. I see we have kangaroo cages, apparently. Each cage contains 2 orthogonally connected sets of cells, which both independently sum to the clue if given, without repeats. Digits can repeat between the 2 sets, however, which I would hope so, given that there are 9 cells in this cage. Pouch cells from 2 different kangaroos could never touch. I'm assuming the cages are the kangaroos, although the word kangaroo, I think, just appears out of nowhere. Pouch cells from 2 different kangaroos can never touch orthogonally, as we don't want to confuse the joeys. Cages without clues must satisfy the above rule for a cage value determined by the solver. Okay, so the purple is Memeristor. Yes, that is true. Okay, the pouch is the smaller one, and it's only pouches can't touch. Okay, so one thing I know is that I know that, well, I guess I can mark that I know these are in something, because I need one bigger and one smaller. These are all in something. I don't know what color I'm going to use yet. I know that I can't make 2 sums to 23, without using this digit, so these are in something. I don't think that is true, Tristan. Unless I'm missing something. I do not believe so. It doesn't say to me that I need to use all the cells, right? This could be larger and I could just omit some of the cells. I think you're, unless I'm missing it or there's a sentence here that I'm misreading, but I read it several times. It just says 2 orthogonally connected sets. The 6 cage definitely commissions a 6. And the sets don't overlap, though. Yeah, there's definitely a 6 in here. And, oh, I guess wait, could I do 2 6s in this cage, actually? I might, no, one of them has to be strictly smaller. One of them has to be strictly smaller. Okay. They can't overlap, can they? The pouch and the other set? I don't think they can overlap. But it doesn't crystal clearly tell me that they can't overlap, I don't think. Okay, and then see, I could have just like a single 8 and a 2-cell 8 sum that could go like anywhere, so I think that is all okay. And I guess I can mark maybe with like some sort of line that I know these two are in the same, maybe that's not the most visible line over my rainbows. These two are in the same conflagration of cells for what it is worth. Okay, and I know one of these isn't a pouch, so I know one of these is the pouch, so one of these is the sum. And I do know things like the sum of these digits is even. Tristan says, I think it is believed that intended that each cage be completely filled with cells. Let me look at the LMD page just to see. Would you look at that? Let's see. What do the LMD rules say? Each cage contains 2 orthogonally connected sets of cells, which both independently sum to the clue without repeating digits. One of these sets must use less digits than the other. Yeah, let's see. Are there comments? There aren't any comments about this because like it very specifically does not say that, but I agree the example suggests that we should pretend it says that. But it does not say it, and no one else has commented it apparently. Well, if we are indeed going to assume that, then we do get that this digit is a 1, which seems rather useful. This digit is a 1 because if I'm going to use everything, then I know that everything sums to 46. And I know that everything in the box sums to 45. So this would end up being a 1. And we'll get a somewhat uncertain 1 dance. Boop, boop, ba-doop, woo. Boop, doop, ba-doop, woo. Boop, doop, ba-doop, woo. Ba, 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 da, ba, ba, da, ba, ba. Waha! Has Henry Pye James solved this puzzle? That's the question. Because there's a 0% chance that Henry Pye James would read these rules and not say this. But it does not appear to me that that Henry Pye James has solved the puzzle. Okay, maybe I should uncolor these and use a less obnoxious line color for those. Oh, I guess I don't need the rainbows at all because all the rainbows actually meant was there's part of something in them, but it's now being claimed by the implication that these that every cell is part of the. So I guess I could alternatively rainbow everything. So these are either 1, 5, 2, 4, or 6, and the middle one's not 6, and neither of these is 1. So that one's not 5 either, for what it's worth, just to keep track of that. If I do have an 8 here, it's not 3 cell. Well, I mean, Right. Okay. So I at least know those 2 lines because digits can't repeat within 1 sum. So I can't have a 1-cell 8 sum because then I would have to have a 4-cell 8 sum, which I cannot do. However, this can't extend to here because then that would need to be a 3-cell 8 sum without using 1. So instead I get this is a 3-cell 8 sum. And so this is the pouch. I'll make pouches purple. And so that makes that a 1 because every 3-cell non-repeating thing has a 1. That does notably make this not the pouch because pouches can't touch. And so this is not the pouch. So let's come up with a color for not the pouch. We'll make not the pouch. We'll make it yellow. And so the pouch here is one cell. So if the pouch is one cell, it's got to be over here, because the pouch is the small one. So we know that's a 6, which does indeed make these two 4. This does feel like a Memeristor puzzle, I've got to say. So these are either 2, 6 or 3, 5, just for the record. And this I know is this is yellow as well, because it touches that. Okay, and these can be yellow. Yellow can touch yellow. Yellow can touch yellow, but purple can't touch purple. Okay, there's a 1 over there. This isn't a 2 at least, so that's not a 6 for what it's worth. Let's see. Is there a 3, 4, or 2, 5? Okay, so I know there's only 2 possibilities for this digit, because this digit is either 3 or 5, and this digit is therefore either 4 or 2. And so the point is that Memeristor has cleverly organized a 2-4 pair into this box, which has made this a 3-5 pair here. And so that is very handy. And so we get, so now we've got our 6, 7, 8, 9 running across here. Now, this definitely can't be a 9, because then I would have to make 9 plus something equal a single-digit number. If it was an 8, that would have to be a 1, and that would have to be a 9. Right. There's only one more. In fact, there are no more yellow cells that are pouch, right? Because, in fact, all the rest of this has to be pouch. No. Sorry. That's backwards. Yeah, yellow is the big one. Let's see. Martin claims this isn't purple. Ah, yes, it's not purple. Very nice, because of this cell, right? One of these two is purple. And so, therefore, this cell is yellow. And now, technically, I could have, like, 3 cells in purple. I think in all cases now this is purple, at the very least. Because if this is not purple, it's yellow, and now I've got to find 3 purple cells that definitely don't work, right? Because I've got to connect. Yeah, I can't possibly. So that's now purple, which makes both of those yellow. Which makes that yellow because the group of yellow cells is orthogonally connected. Okay, assuredly this is not purple, because then this single digit would be a sum of 6 distinct digits. So assuredly this is purple, and this is purple because it must be at least 2 cells, which makes that yellow, which makes that purple, which makes that yellow, and assorted other oddnesses. Okay, so we've got all of that. Let's see. Todd says row 3, column 1 is not part of the pouch. Right. Neither of these can ever be part of the pouch. Because if either of them were ever part of the pouch, then the pouch would have 2 and 2. It's just a matter of this. Right. So now that means this is a 3-cell sum equals a single digit. And so the point is that makes this a 6, with this being a 1 or a 2, and another 1, 2 to go here. So these are a 1, 2, 9, which is very cool to note. So those aren't 6. That's not 6. Okay. So this cage also has a huge total. So it can total 8 as long as it's 8 there, 7 there, and 1 there. That feels like it has to break something, but I don't think that it does. Also, it's probably worth noting that these are 6, 7, 8, 9. So I can only have one number in here that is a 6, 7, 8, 9. So in particular, the sum is 6, 7, 8, or 9, which means the 2 digits involved can only be from 2, 3, 4, because the 1's already here. So this digit's always a 2, 3, or 4 for what it's worth, because if I make the other digit here bigger, then I run into a pretty big problem. Okay. Let's see. I know there's a 1 in one of these 2 cells exactly, for whatever that is worth. Oh, I suppose, in fact, this 2, 4 is in this cage. So this 2, 4, yeah, I guess I can catch up this. This 2, 4 is in the cage. For whatever it's worth. Maybe not super exciting, but true. I'm interpreting Selena's step about 2s. Yes, this is definitely yellow. I agree with that. Well, the total is 8 or 9, and I certainly put a 2 with it. So I know that these are from 2, 8, 9. That's probably a... Oh, and except this one could be a 1. This one can be a 1. But I can't add more than 2 to a 7 or 8. Let's see. Nine, 8, 1. It puts 2 1s in this row. No. This is not a 2 if this is 9, 8, 1. This is a 1 if this is 9, 8, 1. Oh, your just claim is just that this can't be a 2. Because if this is a 2, then this is 2, 7, 9. Actually, maybe that's okay too. Never mind. Oh, it's saying that that can't be 9 while that's 1, because if this is 9 and that's 1, then those are both 2. I see. That is a weird step. It is much less gross than what I thought I was doing. But yeah, okay, yeah. So 9, 1 is not a valid combination here, because that will make that into 2, 2. This is some sort of wing, actually, I think. That has that contradiction. Like maybe this is like an XYZ ring or something in some weirdo way. I think that's what's actually happening here. I'm sure that is not how we're intended to think about it in a 3-star puzzle, but that is okay. So anyway, that does mean this is never an 8, is the point. Because if this were an 8, it would force Uh, no, because that could be the 9. It's only 981 in that order that breaks. It's not 98. Oh, no, it can't be 981 in that direction because there's a 1 in the box. Okay, yeah. So this is a 7. Both of them break. Okay, so no 7 there. Okay. Not in love with that as a design. But it's not completely egregious. Yeah, I know that this 3-5 is that 3-5. Right, yes. I probably know that this isn't 8 because there's no way to make it 8. Let's see. Okay, does that tell me some like really narrow range of things this can be? I don't think it quite does. I'm a little annoyed that the total of this can be 5. Oh, it can't be 5. It can't be 5. Okay, so here's a ridiculous point. The total here can't be 5 because it can't be 5 plus 5 is 4 plus 1, and it can't be 5 is 3 plus 2 because of that cell. So there's no 5 here. And if there's no 5, there definitely is a 6, 7, 8, 9, which means none of these cells are 6, 7, 8, 9. So in particular, they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But where do the 6, 7, 8, 9 go in this box? Well, they can therefore only go here. Oh, sorry, that's not true. Darn it. Because that cell exists. It's close, though. This isn't a 2 either, for the record, because of that. Close, though. Close. It's still true about the virtual quadruple. There still is a 6, 7, 8, 9 in this cage. Oh, and the 6, 7, 8, 9 that's in this cage, for the record, is not a 7. So that means that one of these is 7, which means this isn't 7. And so, therefore, I guess I could also ask that as where is the 7 in row 2? The 7 is definitely in one of these two cells. Okay. That 8, 9 is in these 3 cells. That's not immediately helpful. We do know that this is 7, 8. I agree. Because there's a 2-cell sum to 15, and it can't. There's 6s looking all at it, so I agree. So there's either a 7, 8 here or a 7, 8 here. 7, 8 here doesn't work, though, because 7, 8 here rules 7 and 8 out of these 2 cells, and now I only have 1 cell in the box that can be 7, 8. So, in fact, actually, this is 7, 8. And these are some yellow digits that add to 15 without using a 2 for whatever benefit that gives us. Oh, there's no way this is purple for what it's worth. If this were purple, it would bisect that. So that's definitely yellow. In box 5, the 1 is purple. I agree with that. Yeah, that has been low-hanging fruit for a while. Although in this puzzle, coloring things purple is way more exciting than coloring them yellow, but we might as well mark the low-hanging fruit while it is there. So box 5 purple is 4 cells. Right, right. Got it. Yep. So yeah, so I had been saying I could have a 3-cell purple in this box because I can make 3 cells sum to 23. But the point of chat is I know that I can't repeat one in yellow, so the one is purple. And you can't make a 3-cell sum to 23 if one of them is a 1. And so that actually finishes resolving this. Like that. Okay, so now this sums. There's assuredly a 9 in here now, right? Because if there's no 9, then these sum to at most 14, whereas these 5 sum to at least 15. That doesn't work. So there's definitely a 9 in one of these 2 cells. And I definitely can't fit a 9 in here because then that would make this sum to at least 19. So I also know there's a 9 over here for what it's worth in one of these 2 cells, which is like slowly starting to piece together what kind of looks like something going on with 9s. Okay, in fact, because these sum to at most 17, I can't put anything larger than 7 in here, so I'm going to mark that even though it's a little ridiculous. Mostly because I wanted to think about where 8 is going in this row. Unfortunately, I think I could put an 8 in here and a 9 there. Yeah, and the digit that goes with 9 is at least 6. That's a good point worth marking. So all of these digits are big. Let's see, and I know one of these is a 1. So I actually know this isn't a 1, and I know there is a 1 in this row, actually. So neither of these is 1, which at least pushes this up to a minimum of 5. And I really can't make these 2 3 because this sum needs both 2 and 3. So that can't be 5 either. So now let's contemplate. So this needs to contain a 2 and a 3, right? So 1, 2, 3. So the absolute maximum this can be is 17. That's 2 above. So that means I need the 1, 2, and 3 in here. So yes. So this could possibly be 2, 4. It might work out okay. Okay. So there is a 9 down here somewhere, and it's not there. So while we're corner marking 9s, we might as well corner mark a 9 down there because there's one of these 2 is a 9. Is the point of all of this. Maybe I should actually also center mark these cells because these are only from 4 things. So they're not 1, 2. They could be 3, 4, 5. They're not 6, 7, 8, or 9. Sorry, they're only 3 things. They're only from 3, 4, 5. So we've got that. The 9 locks out a 1, 2 pair. Right. Okay, so yeah. So if I put a 9 in this 3-cell 15, Nordy points out, then I need to make a 2-cell 6 sum. However, I can't make a 2-cell 6 sum without a 1 or a 2. So I can never actually put a 9 here at all. So the 9 in this box is not here. So these digits are only from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're not 6. They're actually not 1 because I know one of those is 1. Okay. So we've got that. Let's see. If I were to go for 8, I would be going for 7. So it would have to be with 3, 4. And 8 would have to go with 3, 4 exactly. Oh, sorry, not necessarily, because if this were an 8, that wouldn't necessarily be a 9. Oh, actually, yes, it would. If I put an 8 here, we've got another like weird wing nonsense thing. If I put an 8 in this cage, it makes that a 9, which does make that a 9. So if I do put an 8 in this cage, it does go with a 3-4 pair, for what it's worth. Okay. Being told if this is a 7, I rule. Do I rule 7 out of that cell? Why couldn't that be 7 in that universe? Uh, uh, oh, okay, yeah. So if this is 7, sorry, I misread your comment as saying if I put a 7 here, I can't place a 7 in row 7. What Screaming Ice Cube actually said, if I'd have read it correctly, is if this is a 7, these are 1, 2, 3, 4, and now these two sum to way too much. They sum to a minimum of 11. So this certainly isn't a 7. And that's because the maximum sum of these 5 cells is 17. Okay, so this is from 2, 3, 4, 5 only. It is true there's at most 1, 6, 7 in here. There's at most, or if you want to think about it, there's at most 1, 6, 7, 8, 9 here. There's exactly 1, 6, 7, 8, 9 here. There's at most 1, 6, 7, 8, 9 in here. So we're almost to having row 7 completely crushed in terms of where the high digits are. We almost have to make both of those high digits, but we're not quite there yet. Also, it's worth noting these digits don't repeat in here by the old region sum line trick. So if I actually ask where these two digits are in row 7, they aren't there. And they're not there, of course. So that also has some appeal to it. This isn't 3, 5 for whatever it's worth. Oh, that is what Nicholas was telling me, I think, is that that's not 3, 5. Let's see. 23 in 6 different digits is actually pretty restricted because the minimum that you could make 6 different digits is 21. So you only have 2 degrees of freedom on that. So if you want to think about it that way, that means that I have to use the 2, 3, and the 4 in yellow. And we know, again, we have to use the 1 here in purple. So it's 1 and then 3 digits that sum to 22. 1, 8, 9 is 18. So 5 is actually, yeah, I guess that's the same exact math, is that 5 is the smallest digit I could put here. Does mean ketchup is in yellow. That's right. So ketchup is in one of these 2 cells. So that is good to know. We're just destroying poor Memeristor's 3-star puzzle that had all of this beautiful logic that we have completely sidestepped by degenerating into nonsense, but that's okay. Let's see. I really wanted that to do something, but I feel like the odds are very low that it's going to do something. Nonsense is what we do best. That's true. I'm trying to like think about the do I want more nonsense because ketchup isn't 2? Well, if ketchup was 2, it would definitely make that digit 2. Uh, uh, the cage on the right. Oh, right. So ketchup does not appear in this cage. And so the point is, yeah, ketchup doesn't appear in either of these sets of 3 cells. And so Selena's point is there's absolutely no way that these 2 sets of 3 cells don't contain 2s. Because if there's no 2s, that's a 9 and a 1. And that's an 8 and now a 9 because you put a 1 over there. So yeah, so not purple. Red is in fact 4, I agree. And so that's a 2. Oops. 4. I can get rid of the red line now, I think. So there definitely is a 4 in this cage for what it's worth. These are not 4. Oh yes, the 8 cage makes this a 3, which makes that a 5 and a 3. Oops, makes that a 2 or a 4. And there is a 4 in the cage. Okay. The 4, funnily enough, can't go in either of these places. Because if the 4 goes in... Oh, no, sorry. The 4 can go in one of those places, but in that case, the sum of the cage is 6. Automatically. Actually, does the sum of this cage have to be 6? If the sum of this cage isn't 6, what is it? Then it is 4 plus 5 is the only option, which would be 9. Can this really be a 9-4-5 cage? Maybe? Let's see. These aren't 4 either. This isn't 3 either. That is a good question. Where do 7 and 8 go in column 3 is a really cool question. Because they can't repeat in the box. And so just visibly, the only cells they can actually go in are these 2. I was just looking at how many low digits I have putting pressure down here, because I know these 2 can't be 1. And I know this one can't be 3 either. So if this one's not 2, it's at least 4. And I need one of these to be at least a little bit small. So I was trying to sort out that. But I don't think I can quite turn it into a point yet. Can I do anything out of the fact that these aren't both purple? I don't think so. Even more nonsense because it's not 945. How much is Meme going to cry if I use the nonsense? Yes, and so now 9 in column 3 points out Screaming Ice Cube because now 9 in column 3 can only go here. I really thought that 9 was going to do something, I'm going to be honest with you. Let's see. We're trying to make it all the stars, David. All the stars. let's see. Okay, I mean, I guess I know this is 2, 4, or 5. Because we just said the only options here are that this cage sums to 6, in which case it's definitely 2, 4, or it sums to 9, in which case it's 9, 4, 5. So we can also mark these helpfully as 2, 4, 5, 6, 9 for what it's worth. Which does, I suppose, mean, at the very least, the sum here isn't 8, which does mean this cell isn't 8. Because that means we must have the 8 there. So this is a 6 or a 9. That feels like it could be an intended step in a puzzle. Let's see. Like the 4 is in this cage, so 8 isn't. Feels like the kind of thing that Memeristor would put in a solve path. Purple does need a 9. That's true. Down here. Or alternatively, yellow can't have a 9 because yellow is sort of minimum 1 through 6, and we only have 2 degrees of freedom. So you could spend them both on the 6 to make it an 8, but you can't make it a 9. Let's see. And this 6, 9 is there. So universe A, it's a 6, and universe B, it's a 9. The universe where it's 9, that's also a 9. Okay, well, if we're going to do really dumb things, that cell's not a 9. Because if this cell's a 9, that's an 8, and that's a 2, and now I have 2 plus 7 equals something wrong. So that's not a 9. Yeah, I'm sort of subtly trying to recreate your deduction, Selena, about what's going on with these things. Once I realized you didn't mean this one was the one that couldn't be 945. I think you meant this one couldn't be 945. I originally thought you were going to prove this wasn't 945, and then I was unsure. Let's see. I suppose I could do similar things. Like if this is 2, then assuredly I need a 9 in one of these cells. Sorry, no. If this is 2, then I assuredly need an 8 there, right? So if this is 2, this is 8, this is 9. Oh, never mind. That actually works. Okay, that's a smart point from Martin. The 4 corner marks here actually place 4 into this 15 sum. So there's no 5 in the 15 sum, because if there was, it would be 4, 5, 6, and there's a 6 there. Okay, so it could be 4, 2, 9. No, yes, it could be 4, 2, 9. Wait, 4, 2, 9. That doesn't work. Can't be 4, 2, 9 either, because 4, 2, 9. Actually, no. Well, 4, 2, 9 would make both of these cells a 1. That definitely doesn't work. I'm just going to take 2 out of here, and we're not going to talk about it anymore. And it can't be 4, 7, 4. So it actually is forced to be 3, 4, 8. Did I cheat, or had I just already worked out that no. I think we earlier had worked out that 9 in this cage didn't work. Okay, yeah, and so so this isn't a 3 anymore for what it's worth. Oh, and right, there's an 8 here, so therefore this is a 7, which makes that an 8, which makes that a 9, which makes that a 2. Okay, so we get to sort of finish our pouching over here. Which is going to make that the pouch of this. So that is all of the pouches. 9, 8, 2, 6. Okay, and so the total of the cage is 6 because there's a 6 in it. So this is 6, 2, 4. And that digit is something. It seems to be a 5. And that digit is a 7. Yeah, so everything collapsed once Martin pointed out that we could sort of force this 15 cage. It was way more restricted than I thought it was going to be. I didn't feel good about it, but then it did just all sort of collapse. The 2 appears here by virtue of that Sudoku. This is a naked single something. I think it's also a 5, like every other cell in this puzzle, apparently. So we've got that. So let's see. Those aren't 7. That is not a 9. This was not a 6 anymore. No 5, no 6. Okay. Does there have to be a 2 in these 2 cells? Because there's definitely a 3 and a 4 in here, right? No, 3 is the only thing I know. I know there's definitely a 3 in here. So if there's no 2, then this would be 4, 5, 9, but it's allowed to be 4, 5, 9. 2 is in fact placed here, Vish has pointed out, if we want to continue with that. No 6 up there anymore, no 2s, no 5. Okay. Yes, 2 also in box 8. Good. And everywhere else. Let's see. So, yes, in this box, 2 is there, which places my last 2 here. So, indeed, there was a 2 in this box, as it turns out. So, this is a 5, 6, or 7. Those are the options. For what it is worth. This 9, David has spotted that we corner marked a while ago. We corner marked it in 4 cells, but that 9 bumped it down into these. So that now means that's not a 9, which now means that's not a 7. Which we appreciate. 9 is placed in this box here. Yeah, that could be a 7. I was about to make an incorrect deduction. Yeah, I know that 9 is in one of those 2. Okay, 5 and 6 both look right. Okay, so I think this is a correct deduction, but it's really dumb. Where do 5 and 6 go in this box? And the question is, do they both go in purple? No, because 5 plus 6 plus 1 plus 9 is not 23. So one of 5 and 6 has to go somewhere outside of purple, and the place it goes is here. And therefore that... I was going to say therefore that's a 3, but that's not even true. I thought I was only doing that because I thought it got me a digit, but it turned out... well, it at least got me a 5-6 pair, so it's not literally nothing. Okay, so we've got our sort of 5, 6 pair here. Okay. Yeah, so if the 7 goes in here, then this would need a 6. Oh, where is 8 in row 4? There we go. David got there exactly as I was, which was to say, and Ilm also. The 8 in this row isn't here, so it's in this cage. And so now if we count, this is 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 is 2. Oh, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. 1, 2, 3 is 6, and 4 is 10, and 8 is 18. Sorry, wait. Yes, and so we need a 5. The answer is this is a 5. And that is a 6. Oh, yes, more simply, we could just say this is a 3, 4, 8 triple if you just look at these things. That would be much nicer than what I did. Okay, and so this is a... This one's a 7, actually. So that makes that an 8. Oh, also 2 plus 6 is 8. Was available at some point. Also, that's an 8. Okay, no 6, no 6, no 6. Okay, so... so this is now a 7, 8, 9 triple, if I look across the row here. So these cells aren't 7, 8. No, not quite. Omekti points out that the 4 in this row is actually in the cage. And we know the sum isn't 15. So I think we can't have 5 because we knew we had 1, 2, 3, and now we know we've got 4. We can't have 5, or these would need to be a 7, 8 pair, which they can't be. So in fact, the other digit is a 7. The sum is 17, and these are an 8, 9 pair. Is what we get. So that is a 7 and an 8. Like that, and this is some other thing. This is the 5 again. Like I said, every cell in this puzzle is a 5. Okay, we can maybe do some markering over here and over here. So let's see. So that is a 4, a 7, and a 5. That looks helpful. So the 5 joins the 9. No, sorry. I was going to do something nonsensical. The 7 is, in fact, what joins the 9 here. So these are a 7, 9 pair. And these are a 1 and a something. Hey, Sweet Blues. 1 and 6. 1 and 6, it looks like. So that is the 6, and that's the 1. So that is the 3 and the 4. Let's see. Those are not 3. That's not 3. Those aren't 3 or 4. Those are a 1, 6 pair. That is not a 1. In fact, I'm just going to get rid of the corner marks here, now that I have this down to a quadruple. Okay, and so now I can go ahead and mark the rest of the grid. Okay, so that's a 3, 8 pair in the column. So that's a 9 and an 8 and a 3. Okay, I did that in a gratuitous way. I could have also said there's an 8, 9 pair in the box. That would have been a much easier and more natural way that would have been more human-like, I suppose. 3, 4, 5, 1, 6, 5, 4, 1, 8, 6, 3, 6, 1, 5, 1, and 3. Very nice puzzle. There was a problem with the rules. But other than the problem with the rules, once we decided to suspend our disbelief about the problem with the rules, then we got there. So quite a neat puzzle there. I'm going to take a quick break to stretch, and I'll be back, and I will do another puzzle. So see you all in just a moment. All right, I have returned. There we go. With a somewhat strange-looking grid, but we'll see how it goes. Oh, there's a build your own kangaroo puzzle. Interesting. Okay. So this is a pencil puzzle. We're going to be drawing a loop, but there are bonus rules on each half of the grid. Do I want this to be dashed? Maybe I don't care if it's dashed. I don't think I care if it's dashed. We'll see. Okay, so I need to draw a loop through some cells of the grid, like that kind of thing. Oops. Only moving orthogonally, not diagonally like the next one. This isn't a U-Bahn, though. This is just a loop puzzle. Part of me is kind of inclined to do the KNT U-Bahn that I've been doing in my office for the past couple days that I keep breaking, but I will persist and eventually survive. So each cell is either visited by the loop or shaded, and shaded cells can't touch orthogonally. So in other words, it's not possible to make two touching cells that are both not visited by the loop, other than the given ones. Each arrow clue gives the number of black cells seen in that direction. So we've got 4 black cells over here, 1 black cell over here, and so on. So that's the sort of the traditional, that ignoring all the outside stuff in the circles, that's the traditional Yaslin rules. But we also have these U-Bahn style clues, which indicate how many of each kind of segment we get in the indicated row. So we have sort of 2 flavors. We can either have straight lines or turns. This is sort of vaguely U-Bahn inspired. And so we learn, for example, that in these rows, there's 1 straight line. And in this row, there's 0 turns. So in particular, anyway, we'll get to exactly what that means. But it has profound consequences, I believe. And so we end up with that. And then over here, not the whole row, just the left part. Sorry. Yes, they only scan the left half of the grid. Right. So yeah, it's not 0 in the whole row. It's just 0 in these. And finally, we have the Masu pieces, which we've been seeing a lot lately. I don't know if Masu is going through a resurgence or whatever, but white dots mean they're definitely visited by the loop, and the loop goes straight through them. But the weirdo rule is the loop has to turn either on one side or the other. So in other words, it has to go straight through, but it can't go straight through. But it's okay if it goes straight through on one side, as long as it doesn't go straight through on the other. Okay. And then on black dots, you have to make a 90-degree angle. Yes, exactly, David. I saw this grid and I was like, well, I have to do this puzzle. Also, people just don't post that many pencil puzzles to LMD, so I do a lot of them that are not rated 5 stars. And I sometimes will even do the ones that are rated 5 stars, but 5-star puzzles scare me because there's no clear ceiling on 5 stars. Okay. So the thing I noticed, it says circles can be shaded. Okay. Circles can be shaded. Good. Thank you for letting me know that. I would not have assumed that. So the 0 turns here means that we don't have any. So we don't have any of this shape, but we also can't have any straight lines going horizontally. So like as soon as I do this, it's broken, because if I do this, I either have to keep going left or turn, but I can't do either of, and I can keep going left, but eventually I have to turn because I run out of grid. So I actually get like a bajillion X's across here. And indeed across here, actually. Sorry, that's supposed to be an X. And that actually gives me a couple black cells, because now this cell's unvisitable. Because if I came in here, I would have nowhere I could leave. And likewise, this cell is unvisitable. So those can be blackened. And every cell that is adjacent to a blackened cell has to be visited. And so, of course, I know what the visits look like. Oops. To these cells. Maybe I don't really need to do the these cells are visited marking. I'm not sure. It looks like a nice puzzle. Anyway, this cell's visited as well, for what it is worth. Okay, so we've got all of that at least. Okay, and this column has 2 corners, which is interesting because I know one of them's down here. And then this column can keep going up for a while, but then once it... Oh, right. Okay, so the point is this has to go all the way up to at least here, right? Because once I have a second turn in this column, I can't put anything else in the column because I can't sort of start another vertical string. That is actually kind of U-Bonny to think about it that way. But basically, my vertical strips... Oh, no, I could have horizontal strips, right? Never mind. I could have horizontal strips. That would be okay. Yeah, I can put horizontals through it. So it is actually okay if we do that. Yeah, you can do many horizontals. I agree. Okay. We only have one straight line in each of these rows is kind of interesting. Let's see, this 4 is kind of interesting. Yeah, that's a good point, which is that the number of turns, every turn starts or ends a horizontal segment in the row, and every horizontal segment needs to end. And so if I have an odd number here, that means that the loop definitely does that as its way of sort of otherwise running into problems. And yeah, we do have stuff like, I don't know, maybe it's worth it for cells I know absolutely nothing about to remind myself that they're visited. I really don't know. But like in every Yajlin puzzle, like these cells have to be visited, because if you block off this cell becomes unvisitable. And so there's a similar thing here because of the 4, and here because of the 4, and here because of the 4, that are maybe worth marking. So that one is visited. In fact, this must be visited. So that's a good one. This one must be visited is useful, because if this were unvisited, then I'd have a dead end down here. That's not going to work. And so I know what the visit looks like because it has to go around like that, and that gives me a bunch of cells to sort of fill in. Okay. Okay, I'm looking at Selena's statement about... Yes. Okay, so Selena's point is now this needs to be visited, because if it's not, we know what the world looks like, which is that the world looks like that, with both of these things being corners, and now that is a valid U-Bahn arrangement, but not a valid Yajlin arrangement. So we can yoink those. That is a very good point. Okay, and this is the 0 corners row. Let's see. Okay. Well, I know I don't connect the two black dots for what it's worth. Now, one of them could be black, which is a weird twist to the rules that I admit I have not thought about a lot. But even if one of them is black, I, of course, can't have a loop connecting them. The one of these that's black actually is getting really narrowed down to what it can be. It can only be one of these three. And it can't be that one. This is the weirdo thing. If this cell is black, it creates the T intersection thing we sometimes see, where I'm forced to do this because I have to visit both of those. So this one is visited. So one of these two is not visited, but I don't necessarily immediately know which one. But that is a good thing to keep in mind. It really feels like there's not that many clues in this puzzle. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so there's 10 cells that I have to fit 4 black spots in, which is interesting. Okay, yeah, we're gonna hit that. And likewise, I know I need to have one black spot over here. I don't quite know what to do with that yet. Let's see. Right. And we do still have this pretty significant restriction in this column, which is that anything I want to have that's vertical is going to need to go at the bottom up to the point where I turn. And then once I stop, or once I turn, then everything left is horizontal or black. But I don't quite know how to utilize that yet. I do know, I'm just going to mark that just so that I occasionally have my brain look at it. That's a good point. Yes. So Ilm has a point that the same logic that we applied here with the odd number of corners also works with the even number of corners. If I have an even number of corners, that means all of my horizontal strips in here do start end to end because they come in pairs. And so therefore, we do not cross over to here. So if this is not black, it eats those 3. Does that work? So if this is not black, then we can put 1 cell there, plus 2 there, plus 1 there. So we have exactly enough, it looks like to me, to do it. But it is true, I certainly am not entering from this side because this is either vertical or it's a block. But yeah, it's very forcing if this isn't black. Let's see. If this is black, then as Selena says, in both the world where it is black and the world where it isn't black, we have a maximum of 2 shaded cells out of all of these 5. And so there's at least 3 shaded cells down below it. Oh, but the 3 shaded cells down below... Oh, sorry, no. There's at least 2. Sorry, this is a 4, not a 5. Uh, let's see. Vish says that the thing with the white one doesn't actually work, which is to say, if I make this not shaded, then I can get one there, and then I also have to blacken those three. And the claim is that that breaks the black circles. Ah, right, because of the one. Right. Yeah. The this one here, here's a different way to do this, which is exactly what Selena is saying. Selena is on the same wavelength as of prettiness. If this cell or this cell was black, then this one clue would be broken, because as soon as that's black, this black dot is unfulfillable because it needs to have an orthogonal statement, and same with this one. So these are both in. And so now if I mark that, then if I imagine that this is in, now the world is just broken because I don't have enough cells. So that is out. And these are in. Okay, yeah. If this is out, that also causes a problem, right? Once we actually use the logic for more than just well, you only were thinking about the cells that were further away because it was what we needed to make the deduction pretty. But now we have this. Okay, and so now I need 3 more black cells. One of them can go here, one of them can go here, and one of them can go exactly there. So this cell is now black. Down here. Oh, and now this one is done because it has to go there, right? So that is in. And we can finish this under here. And this cell is a corner, so we get that. This is a corner, so it must turn up. Okay, and one of these two I know is black, because of this one pointing over there. Okay, and I know that one of these two is black, which I guess I'll just mark by marking the consequence that this right. I can never connect up here is Selena's point, because if I connect up here, I instantly break the black dot. So there's actually an X here, which does indeed make this a corridor. And now I need to be very careful about closing my loop. And I have to make it at least here. And now this definitely can't turn into this. So this one is the one that's black. And this one is correct. And it has to look exactly like that. This has to keep coming up. That has to come over here and bounce over. This has to come over here and bounce up. This still has to go up. All of this because I can't close the loop. I think all of that was correct. Let me know if anyone thinks I autopiloted us into disaster at any point there. Okay, well, this is now definitely black. Because there's no way around it. It would be a dead end. So now I've got that. Okay, so this is, yeah. This is black or a horizontal segment, and this is black or a horizontal segment. Yeah, this could... Did I assume this couldn't connect over here? Oh no, I did not assume that because this is the black. This is the black piece. Yes, yes, yes. This now, Selena points out, has to be visited because I create a dead end here if it's not. And so, because it has to be visited, I actually know it looks like that. Passes through here. And remember, I knew that one of these two had to be black. So it's actually that one that's black. I can blue in that cell. Oh, and this is now a corridor. So I can go ahead and zip that through there. Like that. Uh, yeah, that makes sense. So identifying like, okay, anything that could possibly make a corridor, or sorry, make a dead end is a thing. Yeah, that is a reasonable thing to explicitly scan for. Okay, so now we've got all of these are visited. And so now it's either one of these or that one that is black for this one, because I don't have the one filled in yet. Let's see. What else have we? I do know there's only one straight line over here. So if this goes straight like this, then there are no other straight lines in this whole row, which would be kind of interesting. I don't know that it's broken, but it's kind of interesting. This cell's definitely visited while I'm scanning for these things. Because if this cell is unvisited, then this gets pulled through here, and this is a dead end. While I am practicing the Selena scanning method, patent pending. Okay. I got 0 corners, but I have that marked already. Odd number of corners, that's handled already. Yeah, that's these two cells is kind of interesting because it overlaps the clues. Is the point that it means that one of these two has to be black? I think it might mean one of these two has to be black. No, it doesn't, because they could just both be straight lines and just both be the only straight lines, right? Or one could be a straight line and one could be a turn. Okay, so Vish's point is if this comes up like this, I've now got these 5 loop ends down here, and 5 is a bad number of loop ends to have, basically. And so the only way to resolve that is to have this go that way. Or alternatively, I guess, yeah, if this goes down, that definitely doesn't work. So that has to go there. That has to go there. Now that's a corner, and we get that. And now this is unvisitable because it's a dead end. And so now this needs to come up like that. So we end up with that. This has just become a block. So this is visited by corner magic. Let's see. I am at this kind of like close to accidentally closing the loop thing, but not quite there. Now column 4 has all the corners. So there are no more corners in column 4, and so therefore there's no more horizontal strips anywhere in column 4. By horizontal, I of course meant vertical. Because any one of those would eventually create a corner at the top. Okay, so one of these ones, at least, is just a horizontal segment right away. Yes. Now this can't be black anymore is a good point, because if this is black, now that's a dead end. So we get that at least coming in. Thank you. Okay. Okay. How many crosses? I guess I can figure out what the parity of the number of black cells in this column is, right? Oh, let me do Selena's point first, which is I can't blacken that cell, for example, because it would create a dead end. But actually, the same thing is true of all of these cells, and on the other side, all of these cells, because of that. Okay, so how many piercings should there be? There should be so if I look at how many lines there are crossing between column 3 and column 4, it should be an even number, because every loop cuts every line an even number of times. And so currently we have 1, 2, 3, 4 cuts. So we need an even number of these cells to be not black. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. So an odd number of these cells are black, if I did my parity math correctly. Now, it also applies to this one, by the way. This one is also blue, because this would create a dead end there. So I had one more cell there that I could apply that to. Interestingly, if this comes down, it immediately makes that cell black, which is kind of interesting. Only one straight edge. Wait, is it either the case that, of course, if I put any cells in here, it's going to be straight. But if I put a cell here, it's also going to want to be straight. Unless it's a corner. Yeah, there's something really interesting going on with the number of straights in these cells specifically. And the fact that I only get one of them. So I think it's possible. Okay, yeah. So this cell is straight or black. And so this cell's straight. If this is black, this cell's straight. So in other words, my one straight, there we go. This is, I was overcomplicating it by trying to think of this 2 by 2. It's really just a matter of these two. This is straight or black. And if it's black, that one's straight. So we've consumed our straights here. So these are all not straight. And so in particular, this one is not connecting there. These are not straight. I don't have a fantastic way of marking that I know that none of these can be straight, but none of them can be straight. I feel like we're like really on the verge of a lot of, oh, it would eventually close the loop if you did that kind of coloring end kind of deductions, but I don't seem to quite be there. Uh, yes, this one can't be straight either for the same reason, and so that's going to give me a one of those. Uh, okay, so David is looking at this intersection again. Uh, yeah, if this is black, I agree with Ilm, it breaks. Yeah, this is the yeah, if this is black, I create a corridor there and a corridor there, and they branch. So just to show you that, if that's black, now I'm obligated to do that, and that creates a branch. So that's not going to work. So this is in fact part of the loop, uh, which is good. Okay, and so now I know this is not going to continue there because that would be an extra straight. So we have that. Uh, let's see, what do I do with that? I am sure the answer is something. Uh, the 2 in this row is actually under a fair amount of pressure because I can blacken at most one of each of those pairs and this one. So I'm only sort of like one little deduction away from being able to say that I need to blacken this cell just for this 2 to possibly work. But I don't think I am there yet. Maybe one of these, if I blacken it, it will create some untold horrors. I don't think so immediately, though. Yeah, this cell is not straight, remember, because we've already got our straight. So if this isn't straight, that means this can't go that way. And now this cell's now unvisitable because if it was visited, it would be straight. So we get another of those. And so this is visited. Okay. I think we have a 2 out of 3. I think this 2 out of 3 is broken. Because this 2 out of 3 forces the loop to close over here. And so I can't make that particular combination, so I always have to make that edge, or the loop closes, I believe. Let me know if you disagree with my 2 out of 3 logic. Right. I know this is in, and I know it's not straight, so I know it includes that piece. Uh, Uh, okay. Let's see. That is true. I need to have an even number of total crossings between these two parts, and currently I'm at 1, 2, 3. So I need either 1 more or 3 more in these 3 places where I could potentially have one. That is a very good observation. Yeah, I don't know if we can do anything with it either, but hey, it's a good thing. Now, these 2 rows where I know I need an even number of straight lines, by Selena's earlier argument, I think I know I have exactly 1 straight line in those cells, so I know I need to have at least 1 more straight line over there somewhere. Uh, 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 yes, so yeah, if this is black, it forces 2 crossings via 2 corridors, and then I have the wrong parity of things. So, doesn't it actually make this cell not black, Selena? If this cell is black, it's what breaks, right? So I think it actually makes this cell not black. Oh, and then as soon as that cell's not black, I have the 4. Sorry, yeah, I'd forgotten about the whole story of everything. Yeah, as soon as that cell's not black, that cell is black because we have a 4, and we knew one of those was black, which is why the X was there in the first place. Okay. Well, now I guess I only have 2 spots, and I know that one of these is a horizontal strip, and one of them is not a horizontal strip, for what it's worth. I don't know that that does a whole lot, but you know. Hey Shintaro, I'm loving this puzzle. I'm super glad that I stumbled upon this across this on LMD. I'm definitely going to be hunting through your LMD page for other puzzles that you have made. Row 8, column 7. Uh, uh, yeah, okay, so yeah, so Selena is noting that if this cell is black, if this cell is not black, then we know that cell has to be black, except we have this problem here of this turns either left or right. If it turns left, that cell is black. If it turns right, sorry, I'm trying to articulate this cleanly. Uh, 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 So if this is not black, it's a corner. Uh, uh, okay. Yeah, so somehow, yeah, if this is not black, then it has to be a corner by the row clue, because we know one of those is a straight line. Uh, which then makes this a corner. And now we're definitely going through this. Uh, 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 I was trying to make it break the two clue is what I was trying to do. Is that not what you're seeing, or is what you're seeing unrelated to the two clue? Uh uh let's see. Definitely goes that way. Which means this goes straight through. Right. Okay, right. So you're saying, so right. So the deduction I'm trying to say is, if this isn't black, then this isn't black. And that's a problem. And that is what I'm proving. I just keep proving it in my head and not properly writing down what I'm proving. Yes, so if this is not black, then these definitely connect, just to show you. If this is not black, these connect. Now this is a corner, so it connects. But now immediately that connects through here, and there's no space for a black. I feel like there's probably a really elegant way to say that, but I cannot figure out what it is at this particular moment in time. Okay, so that makes that a corner. That makes this turn up like that, which makes this turn up there. This needs to connect over here, which pulls this there. So we can rid of those. This is certainly a corner. Oops. Okay, and now this also is not able to be a straight line because of our previous deduction, which makes that black, which actually means neither of these are black. Surprise, surprise. This runs up here, so this runs through here, and that connects over there. And now I'm at risk of closing the loop, so I need to do that. These are no longer blue. This one is, but I might as well just fill in the loop for it first. This needs to turn up because otherwise issues with things. So that did a lot. Does knowing that these are both blue tell me anything? I feel like it should, but I do not know what it tells me. Let's see. This going straight across would be totally fine. Oh, right. I should probably look at the corner count. 1, 2. Yeah, there's going to be an even number of corners regardless, right? even number of straight lines here is interesting. Right. This is a corner. It's marked blue and everything. So we've got those two. And that one as well. Selena has spotted. Good. These can't connect, because if these connect to each other, then I make both of these black, which can't work because they touch. So that needs to come out there like that, at least. There we go. Okay, we've got an even number of lines. We need at least one more line. The even clue in column 6. Oh, I do still need a black cell over here. That's a good point. Now that everything's filled in. Let's see. Is there one of these that it obviously can't be? I was hoping it would break if I made that cell black, but I don't think it does. And I don't think it breaks if I make that black either, unfortunately. Is the thing that breaks if I make this go straight up and down? Yes, that breaks. Okay, here's a dumb deduction. This 2 out of 3, that doesn't work because it forces both of these loop ends up through here and breaks this too. So this, in fact, always has that connection in it, regardless of how it goes. But okay, having that piece, does that now make either of these being black break? I still don't think so, right? Let's see. Oh, Emma has for me. If this is black, it forces that to be black too. Oh yeah, it does through the medium of madness. So if this is black, just to show you, I visualize this in my head. What happens is that, which forces that, which forces that, and now this is a dead end. I wonder if there's some nice way to see that by like coloring ends of loops or something. Presumably. But I agree with you, that's not black, which means that is black, which forces that. Can see it by parity. Yeah, I was guessing there's probably some correct thing to do the parity thing. Let's see. Okay, this is there. This goes there. Okay, and these two ends of the loop are currently doing loop things. Okay, this is supposed to have an even number of corners. Oh yeah, that's already handled. The straight line one is the one that's interesting, and I don't have quite enough information yet, I don't think, to do anything about it. Uh, let's see. Um, okay, well, I could have marked this from the very beginning, but that cell's not empty because it would create a dead end there. Uh, uh, okay, yes, agree. Uh, Earlier we noted one of these has to cross this boundary. But if I put an X here, it forces both of them to cross this boundary, and then I end up with the wrong parity of loops crossing between the left half and the right half. So this ends up looking like that. Uh, uh, I'm visualizing what would happen if this cell was black. Because if this cell is black, it forces both my white circles, forces the loop to wrap around the corner, forces this to be visited, but I don't think that does anything. Uh, let's see. Jim has a statement of, okay, what happens if this is black? And so if this is black, then that doesn't work. Because if this is black, then we end up with doing our zig through the white thing, or we make this black, which is even worse. So we definitely have that corner at least. There's no way this is vertical, right? Maybe it actually could just get away with being vertical. Uh, uh, okay, well, now this being black doesn't work. So now if this is black, we get the thing I just said, except for the fact that now this cell is unvisitable because this gets pulled down through there. So this is certainly visited. Same exact story. Ilm points out this with this being black. If this is black, I again get that sort of W pentomino zigzag through this white cell, which is very bad. So this is visited, which means I actually can sort of fill in that piece. Like that. Hmm. Yeah, I guess, yeah. Now I definitely can't have this go... Wait. I could have this go straight, but I can't also have this go straight, or I get a little loop around the top. So they can't both go horizontally. But maybe one could be black and one could go horizontally. Yeah, they can't both go horizontally. I agree. But unfortunately, I'm allowed to blacken them. Just an evil twist to this puzzle. Let's see. Okay, I'm trying to keep track of my loop ends over here. Yeah, the blackening is tricky. They also can't be both vertical. Is it clear they can't be one vertical and one horizontal? They're far enough apart they can be one vertical and one horizontal, right? Okay, let's see. Garian says, if you imagine the world where this is vertical, then that's going to force this down around here. I'm trying to see for row 4, column 11. So this certainly can't be horizontal because that would create a mini loop. And if it's vertical, then yeah, then we run into that. Okay, got it. Yeah, so yeah, if this is horizontal, we force a mini loop up here, and if this is vertical, then we force that I can't visit either of these cells, and that's bad. So this one can't be vertical, at least. And if we can mark that off, then we know this at least extends over back here like that. Oh, did we check we couldn't have that black? We did not check that. Right. So we were saying, imagine that this is horizontal. Yeah, couldn't this be black and just have it go around? I think that would actually be okay, unfortunately. Tragic. Or maybe good, because it wasn't like the most elegant deduction ever. Yes, if this is black, then we end up creating a dead end here. So that is worth noting. So that is definitely visited. Selena says they were trying to cosplay Garion on the kangaroo puzzle. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, the circles being able to be black and then just having no meaning is very cruel and unusual in this puzzle. Let's see. No, it's okay. It's not cruel and unusual in a bad way. Although definitely I will say if chat had not pointed it out, I would have missed it. Because I kind of assumed I knew when it said Matthew colon, I kind of assumed I knew what was going to follow it, and then I did not read it. But then there was the twist about the black cells. But I actually like that kind of ambiguity. I think is a really nice way to sort of dovetail Yajlin with another thing, is to say like, okay, you can blacken the other clues. Uh, I think there's actually a lot of room to sort of explore the idea of a Yaslin hybrid where if the black cells cover a clue, then that clue is just invalid. I haven't seen it before, but it seems like it could be fun. Like you could probably do like a Sudoku hybrid with Yaslin like that, I guess. Maybe the grid would be too small. I'm just trying to think what other kinds of clues you could cover with black cells. It could be a common Yaslin variant. If it is, I have not seen it before. Yeah, Jim says if row 4, column 13 were vertical, then row 6, column 12, or row 6, column 11 can't go anywhere. Yaslin Heowake Pentominus. Beautiful, beautiful. Row 4, column 12, or row 6, column 12. Because Pento and Heia seems difficult to combine. Perhaps you could try it with Chacona and Country Road instead. Unfortunately, the even clue in row 7 is for corners and not lines. Oh, welcome, Mikhail, to the subscribers. Thank you. Let's see. Row 5, column 13 would be a corner. Yeah, so, okay, so to see Jim's point, we get all of that, and then this. So if this goes vertically, all of this is forced. And so if this goes down, now this creates a mini loop up here. Oh, and it has to because this is a corner. Right. So now, yeah, the once you've done that, now now this is forced, and so the contradiction is there. At least without being super smart about counting parity and stuff. Yeah, there's probably a more elegant way to phrase that, I'm gonna guess. As with so many things. Anyway, that doesn't go vertically. And we didn't, I think, forget that that one could be black that time. So this extends over. I don't even think that does anything. It's very possible. I mean, that sort of makes sense, right, Selena? If you make an off-the-wall weird deduction in a puzzle, probably the solver or probably the setter wasn't creating the puzzle for you to use the off-the-wall weird deduction, and so probably in a puzzle as minimally clued as this, likely the off-the-wall weird deduction doesn't do anything. It all sort of makes sense and comes full circle in a weird way. Uh, let's see. Emma believes there's a similar problem with the other white circle being vertical. So that comes down here. And now I certainly can't connect these two because that would break my number of perforations of this. So this would have to turn this way. And now this end is dead. Because this can't connect that way, or we again break the parity here of things crossing the main border. But it certainly can't turn that way either. I wonder if there's some elegant way to relate this, because I feel like the thing that broke here is that anyway. So that doesn't do that, which means that comes over there. Let's see. Okay, so one of these. Yeah, so we have a silly 2 out of 3 here with this one doesn't go this way. Because if it does, it closes the loop. So this always goes this way. I can de-bluify those cells. Let's see. Yeah, that was what I saw, Jim. Let's see. Yeah, one has to be black for sure. It cannot take both. Does one of them black break cleanly yet? Yeah, I think we've at least been fairly confident from lots of thinking about it that one of them had to be black. Although I think we weren't like really sure about it. I think now yeah, it is very possible that we're actually supposed to be looking at these clues. Although I have to say I keep like looking over at them hopefully. But then I keep not seeing how I'm supposed to handle it. Okay, maybe I'm supposed to look at this little dangling end. So that would force all of that. Right being horizontal breaks after a few steps. So that would force... Yeah, and now this is a dead end. But it can't be. Is Ilm's point. Is it as simple as I can't do this? Is that the thing I'm supposed to see? Yeah, I can't do that. That would have been any. So here's a much easier deduction. I definitely can't do this 2 out of 3 because now this is a dead end, so it's black. But this is a dead end, so it's black, and now this is a dead end, so it's black. So I think that's probably an easier thing to see, and it forces that. Anyway, that is what I learned from viewing this being black broke, or whatever the thing was. Let's see. Okay. So let's see. So now, yeah. So now, if this is, I'm just trying to see if this can't be horizontal to see if that made this deduction a little bit easier. And I think the answer is that it's doing something with loop end parity over here, is I think the way I'm supposed to see it. Uh, just that if I make this horizontal, I remove a loop end and I now have these three over here. But that's a real problem because I don't have any way of dealing with the I don't have anywhere near enough black cells to put over here to handle it. So I'm sort of like trying to say to myself, okay, if I do this, then I can look at these three loop ends and realize there's a problem. Now, of course, you can sort of see the problem pretty quickly if you fill these in and realize that you've created this dead end. But I was trying to sort of think about this as a what can I learn about loop puzzles? So now this one is now straight. Now this can't go that way, so it has to go that way. Now this is a dead end. So we end up with that happening. Okay, this is a corner. This is a dead end now. So this is a corner. This comes out that side. Okay, and these two ends are threatening to close the loop, which makes me think that we were intended to do this part before doing this part. Don't make a mini loop. Yeah, but now I think we did this in the intended order. So now this has to come over here to avoid making a mini loop, as has been noted by mini loop scholars. Let's see. Yeah, unfortunately, this even was always going to be true as soon as I put an X here. Is highly regrettable, but I fear true. Let's see. How on earth am I supposed to do anything with this even number of straights? Like, that's basically my only clue left to use of any sort, is this. There's an even number of straights in both of these rows. The loop network is allowed to enter the outside as long as it doesn't overlap the clues. I'm sure people would love it. Row 6 needs a black to keep the evenness. Right. Okay, so wait, doesn't it need no blacks to keep the evenness? Because yeah, I think that's exactly the setter said the thing, and I think that if I had more experience with Yajlin, don't make a large unloopable area would be a lot more intuitive to me than it was, because like once we sort of figured it out and I sort of got there, but sort of I was sort of that's not a large unloopable area is a level of Yajlin that is higher than my level of Yajlin competence. Oh right, it crosses right. So yeah, so one of these is black. Okay, yeah, sorry. Thank you. Okay, so yes. So this crosses here. And so there's an odd number of corners in these cells. And if there's an odd number of corners and an even number of straights, that must mean there's an odd number of blacks, which means one of these two is black, which means I can at least put an X there. And on the other hand, here in this row, it doesn't cross. And so there's an even number of everything. And so the only way that's possible, that there could be any blacks in this row at all, is if both of those are black. And I assumed that was going to rapidly break. But I'll be honest, I don't immediately see how it does. Oh, it creates a dead end here. Right. It creates a dead end here. This cell can't be black. There we go. Because that would make this cell a dead end. There we go. Okay. And so now I know there's an even number of everything left in this row, and so I don't have room for an even number of black. So everything in here is in. Okay, and I know that one of these two is black. I don't need that to be blue anymore. Yeah, that was what I eventually found run. Okay. This can't come up through here or it will break the claim that one of these is black, because if this comes up through here, then this comes up through here, and then I have not made one of these black. Wait a second. Didn't I just break it? No. Okay, yeah, sorry. No. This is right. One of these is black. If this comes up, we have a big problem, because now this also comes up, and now I don't get my black. So this doesn't come up. This connects over like this, which has made this a dead end black, which has made this into a corner, which in my head was wrong, but it's not actually wrong. I was just trying to think that I needed a straight line, but I don't. I've got my two straight lines. Okay. This can't connect straight across, because if this connects straight across, then we'll break this corner over here. So we have that. So we can go ahead and do those. I was going to say it would close the loop, but that also works. This comes over here now. So this comes over here now. I can get rid of both of these blues. Oh, there's a clue. There's a clue that says there's a black in this column, and it's there. And so that closes the loop. Beautiful puzzle. I really enjoyed that. Definitely pushed me to think about my sort of fancier Yagelin stuff up here, but I really enjoyed that. We'll definitely be looking for additional puzzles by Shintaro Fujita Hardy in the future. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick break, stretch, and I'll be back in just a moment. So see you all shortly. All right, welcome back. Uh, well, I enjoyed that, so we're going to do another Fujita Hardy loop puzzle. So why not? We will replace the pin message. I don't get many pencil puzzles, so we're going to do them while we can. So we have here we have a directed loop, which is already going to be very interesting. But we need to shade some cells, and there's an example, by the way, on the LMD page. So that each orthogonally connected group of shaded cells touches the edge of the grid. So cave-like rules, so we're going to have to shade some stuff. And all unshaded cells form a single orthogonally connected group. Each 2x2 area contains at least one shaded cell. And then we have the directed loop component, which is draw a loop through the centers of some cells, which only moves vertically or horizontally and does not branch or cross itself. And additionally, the loop passes over every arrow in the indicated direction, must travel straight through shaded cells, and must turn 90 degrees through unshaded cells. Okay, so yeah, we're probably going to have to do something sort of fancy for that. Okay, so this is going to take a minute for me to wrap my brain around what is even happening here. And note, by the way, from the example, and I mean from the fact that the rules don't say this as well, the loop certainly does not need to visit every cell. Now, this is a corner, and so the loop needs to travel straight through. Let's see this. Loop passes over every arrow, must travel straight through shaded cells, and must turn 90 degrees through unshaded cells. So that's an unshaded cell right there, because the loop did not, or because the loop turned there. Uh, okay. Now we have some things that are like directed loop specific, like the loop can't connect here. The loop can't connect here because the loop can't connect here because it would create some things. Okay. And so interestingly, that immediately tells me the color of this cell. Because the loop can't keep going straight. So this cell, because the loop turns here, it must be unshaded. Uh, Likewise, the loop must turn here. Uh, must turn here. No, sorry, that's not true here. It is true here. Yeah, here I don't know. It's sort of weird. Yeah, neither of these do I know, but some of them I do. And like, for example, the loop has to have turned here because it has to have gotten to this cell. And the loop must turn here because it is now doing that. And the loop must turn here and here. And now every 2x2 must contain at least one shaded cell, is good to know. Okay, so here's a good point from Martin. I can't have... The loop is oriented, so it either moves clockwise overall or counterclockwise overall. In particular, on the border, it has to do that. So we know the border moves, or sorry, the thing moves counterclockwise. So I can't have, for example, that is not a valid thing because then I'd have the loop going in opposite directions. Yeah, Selena has the right way to phrase this that doesn't involve complex analysis, which is to think about the inside of the loop and the outside of the loop. And so the outside of the grid is on the outside of the loop. And so we always, because of this, need to keep the outside of the grid on the right side of the line. And so if I do this, I put the outside of the grid on the left side of the line. So I can't do that. So therefore we have to do those things. I mean, all the good things come from Sam Kappelman lines, right? So we have that, like that at the very least, and I have some more green cells. That cell at least is shaded. We actually have a shaded cell. This can't connect because if these two connect, I mean, there's lots of reasons they can't connect actually. But one of the reasons they couldn't connect is it would make a 2x2 of green. But the other reason they can't connect is the orientation is wrong. So that has to come down there. That has to come down there, which makes that gray. Yeah, I was really trying to figure out how to say that without doing that. Okay, so this needs to come down here because of that. Again, these still can't join because they would be going the wrong way. Yes, and so these are both shaded. So we are allowed to have 2x2s of shaded. Oh, they can join. Sorry, they can join. You're right. Sorry, I was misreading the orientation. Right, sorry. So I actually did need my proof up here. These can't join. Yeah, so if I actually zigzag this in my head it was opposite, but it's not. If these connect, it won't be an orientation problem, but it will create a 2x2 of green, which I'm not allowed to do. So these really don't connect. These really do go down. These really are both straight. But now I don't have any issue with these connecting. This does come down here, though, so that is gray. And there's no, just to double check, there is no every 2x2 contains an unshaded cell. That is not a rule. Okay. However, these can connect. These can connect. That is a legitimate thing that can happen. Right. So yeah, right. The same logic. This can't happen because if this happened, I've put the outside on the left. So we actually have that. Uh like that. Uh so funnily enough, I know this cell isn't on the loop. Huh? No, that's not true. Uh right. This cannot go straight, so it is green. I agree. Uh And remember, we do have no checkerboard rules in play because we have the cave rules. So we definitely have our no checkerboard thing if we would like. So these can't both be gray. Uh, I guess is maybe not the most exciting deduction that humankind has ever made. Uh, uh, oh, if this is gray, it breaks. Uh, uh, Yeah, that was what I was trying to decide was is it only going to break if it's on the path? Uh if it's gray. Uh yeah, the none loop is allowed. Uh yeah, so like if these turn down, then they immediately turn. But that doesn't quite create a 2 by 2 of green yet. Uh is it a problem if this extends straight back? It looks to me like that's going to create. No, it would just like that could just line up like that. I think that would be okay. Uh, and remember, all the green has to be connected too. So, uh, okay. Garion says if this is gray, you isolate green in row 1, column 11. Uh, yes. That's very true. Yes. So, yeah, if this is gray, then this is straight, and now I've got two straights here, and both of those are gray, but that's green. That doesn't work. So this can't be gray. It is green, which means that it's a turn. So it looks like that. And now this is forced to not go up, because if this goes up, we have chaos. So this turns here. These are both turns. So they're both green, makes that shaded. And this is shaded, actually, because of the 2 by 2 rule. Okay. Good. Uh, yeah, this is, I guess this cell is on the loop. is Emma's point. We know because if it was off the loop, it would create exactly the problem that we had before, where that would be two grays isolating a green. So this is on the loop. I guess I will use that for on the loop. Yes. Okay. So Garion is saying, imagine this turns down, then what? And the problem is both then what's are bad, because if this turns, I've now got a 2x2 of green, and if I go straight down, then I instead have the problem that I've now created a mini loop. So I just can't go down from there. So this is gray. I almost reflexively said so these are both green because of the last puzzle's muscle memory being entrenched in my mind. Let's see. Let's see. It would be really natural for that to go that way. See, I'm just looking at the orientation arrows and seeing how much I can glean. So if this is gray, then that's gray because of checkerboard. Does that become a problem? It certainly makes this turn. It doesn't look like it immediately becomes a problem, at least, to me. Like, if this is gray, then this is not loop, I guess, is one consequence of this. Is this ever loop? Yeah, I guess we could do green, green, green. Green. No, that doesn't work. Okay, yeah, there's something going on here with that. What's the intelligible way to say this? It's possible also that I like completely hallucinated. Right. Okay. So here's a much simpler point. The loop is going counterclockwise, and so if there were no loop here, AFK's point is then the outside of the loop would be on the left of the loop, but the outside of the loop is on the right side of the loop. So we actually definitely have a segment going down like this. And same way over here, the loop is going that way. So we actually get those segments as well. Yeah, so it's the point that this cell's never a loop, because if this is loop, it can't be gray. So if this is loop, it's green, and that's green. But I don't even think that's the point. I think the point is if this is loop, it's green. And so that's also green, which makes that also green. Maybe that could still be gray in that universe. I'm not quite sure. Okay, this is going that way, so it's a question of whether it does that or not. Wait, if this does do that, I guess then that becomes shaded is what happens? Yes, that's what happens. So yeah, if this turns up, then all three of those become green, and so this is forced to be gray. But I think that's okay. Let's see. And I do have to remember, like, this gray needs to get to the border, which is assuredly going to be relevant at some point in our future. Uh, can I actually say this can't be loop? I think this cell actually can't be. I think I can't have loop in these cells. Uh, Sorry, I could have loop in them. I don't think I can have a loop crossing this line. Because if I have a loop crossing this line, I know it's going up, and now this is now I've got a problem because of that one going up. So I can at least X that cell. The loop doesn't cross that border because of slight variation of AFK's point uh, about how orientation gets flipped around when you have two lines next to each other. Let's see. Uh, yeah, so Selena is looking at the inside outside stuff of uh row 5, 6, column 6, 7. So like this vertex here. Uh uh and so like you can say that this vertex is outside the loop because it's to the right of this arrow. Which would be okay if this came in and did something like that, for example. But then by the same logic, this is inside the loop from this point of view. Okay, so I see Selena's point now. So this is definitely outside the loop because it's to the right of this. This is definitely inside the loop because it's to the left of this. And if that vertex is inside and this one's outside, they need to be separated by a vertical segment. So that is in the loop. Okay, now these two really can't join. I think I'm not lying this time when I say that. And so this has to turn here, making that do that. Well, this just can't be gray. So both of these are gray. Sadly, coloring vertices is a much requested feature, as in I have requested it very often, but it is not an implemented feature. Okay, and this is green because it can't be straight. And this is green because I need to avoid a checkerboard, and this is gray because I need to avoid a 2x2. Right. Gray has to get out. Right. I said earlier I need to remember that gray needs to connect, and then I already forgot that gray needed to connect. Okay. These can't connect because of the inside-outside business. Okay, so this is green because we've got an X there. Let's see. Yeah, this turning up all looks okay-ish. Okay, Shintaro has a different way to think about it, which is that you can never make two segments go straight in the same direction that are touching each other. And so that is maybe an easier to visualize version of Selena's point from earlier. Uh, Right. So here's Shintaro's way of seeing what Selena is saying. If this turns right, uh, these two are going the same direction, which breaks the insidey outsidiness of the world. So this can't actually turn right. This has to turn left. Does that sound correct to everyone? I think that is how the universe works. Emma says these can't connect. I don't see why yet. Uh, uh, right. So this loop can't be coming from here because that would be two pieces of loop going in the same direction. So this loop has to be coming from here. Good. Okay, and this can't turn up, so this has to turn down. And now that forces it to go back that way, actually, because of that. Same thing. Okay, these can connect. Works out. You get a dead end above. So let's see. Emma's saying, imagine this world. And so in this world, these are both green. It's a pure loop issue. I don't understand it yet. Is it a pure loop issue or a pure oriented loop issue? Okay. Row 5, column 10. Does the loop end go? Let's see. If it turns here, then I get green, 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 gray, but that would want to be gray anyway. If it goes straight, that'll be gray, green. Oh, I see. Okay. Sorry. VJ's point is simpler. VJ's point is no matter what, I know how this is getting out. Namely, the only way this is getting is going through here. Like this edge must be. Regardless of whether I go there directly or go there indirectly, we must go here. Okay, I completely endorse that. Uh, uh, right. So yeah, this can't turn up or it's a directionally challenged loop. Very good. Because if this turns up, it's going parallel to that. So this goes down. Yeah, if this goes up, then these go up. And we end up with green, 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 gray there again. Uh, Man, that one time I saw the like thing that would make 4 greens touch in a 2x2, and so now I keep hoping that I'll find it if I look in the right place. And so far, I have found it 0 additional times. Uh, but someday I will again discover where that happens. Uh, let's see. Okay, so these can't both be turns. Uh, Row 6, 7, column 8, 9. So here, we're using that if this is green, then that's green. I don't see why that can't be gray in that universe. Uh, or is it more complicated than that? Uh, oh, because that would be 2 parallel lines. Right. Oh, here's an interesting consequence, actually. There can never be a line going through here, because a line going through here is going either up or going down. And it can't be either because it's got one of each on either side. Uh, so I think then that is going to make that makes Selena's point much easier, which is that now if this loop comes here, it's going to bounce around and create a 2x2. And that doesn't work. So the loop does not do that. Uh, uh, Likewise, if this loop, if you think about it going backwards, it's now going to dead end because like now this cell is unloopable. And hence this cell is now unloopable. So we can sort of box those off. Those will get sorted out by the coloring. Uh, uh, yes, not all cells have to be loop, correct. Yeah, big X for unvisitable is reasonable. It was sort of so narrow, I wasn't sure if it was worth having the like large line. Uh, Row 3, column 10 has a problem coming down to the edge of the grid downward. Oh, the gray part. Uh, uh, Unvisited cells do have a color. Their color just doesn't impact the loop because the loop doesn't visit them. Uh, uh, I'm trying to understand this claim that gray can't make it to the edge by sort of going over down here. Uh, 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 Yeah, for a 4-column 10 is gray. It makes the loop not turn. I agree. Oh, right. Okay, yeah. So, right. So, even if this is gray, the point is this is still green, is the point. So, if this is gray, that's green. And then we've still, yeah. So, if this is gray, you could just sort of figure it out. That actually makes all three of these green. Otherwise, this is just green to start with, in which case the gray is still not getting there. So, this gray does indeed have to actually get out through somewhere around here. Now, I don't know that it can't go down and left and get out something like that. I'm very prepared that my loop here does something utterly ridiculous, but I don't immediately see that it does, at least, I'll say, if the gray sort of goes there as opposed to going directly through there. But we're very close to that being the case. Let's see. Row 3 and 4, column 9 don't connect. If these connect, they're double green. Ah, yes. Okay, right. If these connect, it's two greens, and that definitely kills this gray by this point. And so this actually comes across here for sure, which has made both of these gray. And so now this is gray for sure by avoiding a checkerboard. You can't have a checkerboard in a cave puzzle. Okay, so now this cell isn't loop. Because if it's loop, it would be straight, and it can't be. So now that has sort of beaten this up here, and now that gets beaten over here by corner stuff. And this continues to avoid making a mini loop, which forces this to continue to avoid making a mini loop. And now we've got a corner, and a corner, and a straight, and a straight, and a corner. And this has got to be a straight to avoid a checkerboard. So now this bounces around like that, which now makes all of those green. Okay, I think that was all good. Okay, this loop needs to continue, which has made that gray. This green needs to escape and actually avoid a checkerboard, all the good things that green needs to do. Yes, if these two connect, we've created the 2x2 again, Vish points out. A 2x2 of green, so they can't do that. So this actually continues down, which makes both of those gray. Okay, which makes that cell gray, which makes that cell gray. So we have our coloring resolved for the unvisitable areas. Right. If this is green, then it also bounces off and makes a 2x2 of green. So that's also gray, Martin points out. I agree. So this is now just unvisitable because there's nothing that can get there. Let's see. And this whole green patch needs to get out. Because the green is not yet connected. Yeah, if this is visited as is green, seems okay. This is a big shaded area. The example puzzle has very small shaded areas, so I was sort of expecting very small shaded areas, but that is not what I've gotten. Let's see. If this connects down, then anything here has to be up. I'm looking for another reproduction of this lines going in opposite directions with one column in between, killing the column between them deduction, because that seemed very powerful. But if I can reproduce it, I don't see how yet. Row 6 and 7 of column 4 can't go down because of column 3. You're just saying I have a one-directional X? Oh, here, yeah. These can't go down because of that. Could go up, maybe? Yeah, up I think would be okay. Can't go down. Let's see. We did a lot of progress all at once over here. I'm trying to look at this 2x2 in my head now and asking myself if there's any things that don't work. Like I noticed that if I come here, then this becomes dead. Or this comes here, which would put green there at least. But I don't necessarily see a problem with that right away. This can't go straight across, so if this goes anywhere, it goes down. Oh, you think if this goes straight across, then it creates a problem? Okay, yeah, I think I see it, actually. If this continues straight across, then of course it does this. Which has made that gray and that green, which makes that green by checkerboard. And now where is it going? So it can't turn that way, so it has to turn into that, and that creates a 2x2. Yeah, I did see that, at least, once you said that it was a problem. So it doesn't keep going. It does turn there and there, which make both of those green, which does make that gray. I wonder if there is an easy way to ask that, or see that by asking where the gray was going in something. This is green by checkerboard. So this turns. This goes... Uh-oh. Oh. Sorry, this is green. Yeah, row 2, column 5 is not forced green, and in fact probably can't be green. If I look at it. Because if this is green, then that's gray. Yeah, we just proved it, basically. Yeah, this certainly can't turn that way. Uh, yeah, if this is green, both of these are gray, is the point. Yeah, so if this is a green... Oh, that's a much easier way. Okay, Vish has a much easier way. If this connects down, that just is a 2x2. So that doesn't connect down like that. And it certainly doesn't go up, so it goes straight across. Okay, making that gray and that green. Okay, this can be whatever it wants to be, and it's probably going to be gray. Because if it's green, we're going to have a big problem. I mean, if it's green, the puzzle isn't unique, right? Right. If this is green, it closes the loop, so that's gray. Which we know means this comes back here like that. Let's see. These can certainly join. I don't think that's true, Ron. I think they are going the right direction to join, aren't they? But it does create, as Sweet Blue says, it creates a checkerboard if they actually connect. Because if they connect, then that's green and that's gray. So they don't connect. Which means this goes down here, which means this is green. At the very least. Now, this cell has to turn because otherwise it creates a mini loop. So we do that. So that's green and that's gray. And that's green because I need to avoid a checkerboard, which means it needs to turn that way. Let's see. Yes, the gray needs to hit the edge. So we got our, as predicted, that cell ended up being gray. I do not at all, by the way, blame setters for letting there be occasional unique deductions in their puzzle if people want to use them. There are many other things to prioritize when making a puzzle. Oh, if these connect, it just breaks, right? Because if these connect, now I force a mini loop. So these can't connect. Oh, maybe you're right. Sorry, Vish, you might be right. That actually I might be wrong because it might be that the green needs to connect. I might have not adequately checked this, but yeah, if these connect, it just forces that down into making a loop. I don't know if there's a more elegant way to say that, but that is my way of saying it. So these don't connect, so this goes that way, which has made both of these green. There's probably a more elegant way to say it, but that is the way that I have said it. Okay, so this cell is shaded by avoiding a 2x2. So this comes over here and bounces down like that, which gets me 2 greens. Hopefully all of my loop orientation is good. This gray still needs to get out. So this cell's not visited by the loop because it would definitely not be a straight line if it was. Okay, which means this cell's green. Because it can't continue backwards, which means this is green by avoiding a checkerboard, which means this is gray by the who's a what's it's. It's gray by the 2x2, and so it's also not visited because there's no way for it to be visited. Oh yeah, this is also not visited because it's a dead end, is AFK's point. I agree. If this is unvisited, I think our loop orientation is wrong. Right, because no, if this is visited, our loop orientation is wrong. If this is visited, then this is going clockwise, not counterclockwise, as it comes across this part. And keep in mind, this is already known to not be visited, so it's an unfixable problem. So this cell can't be visited by this clockwise business from earlier. So we have that over here. Okay, this gray needs to get out. Oh, it would have been easier to go through row 5, column 3 getting out. That's possible. If this is gray, this is green. So even if this is gray, this still needs to be gray by earlier sorts of shenaniganery. And so this being green does that. So that happens. And so this is gray to avoid a 2x2. This is gray to avoid a checkerboard. And we can go bam, bam like that, which makes this green. Which makes this gray and that gray for checkerboard reasons. And now both of these are in fact unvisitable. And so this has become a corner, so this turns down like that at the very least. And we can green, green, gray those. That is green to avoid a 2x2. Okay, yeah, we've still got two almost connections. So if we want to be super advanced, we can attempt to do some of the deductions that you get when you have two connections, but I don't know those well, so that may not end well for us if that is what we try to do. If this goes straight, assuredly that breaks, right? In my head, it looks like if this breaks, it forces the loop to close, but it might not. I'm not 100% sure. Let's see. If this is gray, I see that it makes all of that gray, but I don't know if that's a problem. This goes down, it's a checkerboard. Yeah, so if this, so this is what Selena's saying. If this goes down, then this comes around like this. And so these are both gray, these are both green. I think we've seen that pattern before, but I agree that doesn't happen. So if that doesn't happen, then this does, which makes that green. Which makes this gray to avoid a 2x2. Makes this come across here. If this is gray, do we trap green? Right. This can't continue straight, because if this continues straight, then these two things overlap in terms of their degree. So this never continues straight, because then I've got these two things aligned. So this is always green at the very least. Right. This has to be loop, because if this is not loop, then by our earlier bit, we get straight, straight, corner, and that doesn't work. So this is definitely in the loop. Let's see. If it's gray, it makes all of those cells gray, which is a problem, right? This cell can't be gray, because if this cell is gray, it makes all of these gray, except now this is a straight going down, and this is a straight going no direction. That's by checkerboarding, by the way. So this is definitely green, which means it definitely comes down like that. And now this cell can't possibly be a straight line, so that cell's green. If this connects, then I've isolated these ends of the loop that don't work, right? So yeah, so there's, I guess the cleanest way to do that is to say there are 3 loop ends in here, so there need to be an odd number of exits. Right. Is it an odd? Oh, no. Here, sorry. It doesn't have it's just yeah, it's always an even number of exits, and currently there's 1 exit. So I don't think I need to even count the loop ends. I think I could just say that. So anyway, so that means that that cell is gray. And this is turning up this way, which has made that cell green, which forces this gray to connect to the outside like that. That's green to avoid a checkerboard. So that turns over there. Oh, and now this is just, this can't turn that way anymore, so this turns that way, and so that is green, and that is gray. Yeah, I was trying to make it about loop ends, but I don't think I needed to bring loop ends into it at all. That's gray because this gray needs to get out. Chat has noted. Because this gray is actually going to need to get to the border down here somewhere, which is going to be, so I mean, maybe it'll do that or something. Yes, I definitely don't want to make this a mini loop. That would be bad. So we don't make a mini loop, which means this is gray as well. I feel like back when I was first doing loop puzzles, people would always say, don't make a little loop, but somehow mini loop has caught on and become the thing. Right. This cell is definitely unvisitable, because if it was visited, it would lead down the corridor of death that we have over here. We don't want to visit the corridor of death. Okay, so this can't be visited anymore either, because if this was visited, it would be green, and it would make a green 2x2. Which means that this comes out, which forces that out again to avoid the mini loop, makes that gray. Okay, and that's gray as well. Yeah, while I am doing things that are gray. Let's see. So that being gray would just solve all my problems, I think. Let's see. Is there a reason these two have to connect? If they don't, then that's going to end up being gray. Let's see. So row 9, column 6, 7. I think AFK is telling me there's an edge here. For green-gray connect reasons. Let's see. I don't quite see it yet. Uh, see, is it possible that these connecting breaks or that these connecting breaks, something like that? These connecting looks very iffy, but I don't. When I looked at it in my head, it looked fine. Uh, but my head is not always the best at predicting exactly what is going to happen with these things. Uh, uh, okay. Right. So these can't both be gray and they can't both be green, is, I think, the point. So they are one gray and one green for sure. Uh, and if that's the gray one, then that's also gray. If that's the green one, then that's also green. So these two are the same color uh, in all universes. Yeah, I had not appreciated that these were the only two exits for this giant green blob. But they are indeed the only two exits for this giant green blob. But yeah, these both being gray is a way of resolving this that I had not really appreciated. Uh, which is that if these are both gray, then I can just have this giant stalactite sort of connect out that way, and that's probably fine. Uh, let's see. Yeah, in the world where these are both gray, my green has to come in at least this far. Uh, uh, and so then they end up connecting. So these either connect here or they connect here, I think is the point. Because they either connect immediately or we're in the double gray world. And in the double gray world, remember that the green comes over here, but now this green connects through here, so this is a corner, so it does that. So the thing I think it does is these two are destined to connect. So now I need to make super sure these two don't connect. Uh, so is there something that's saying these two can't connect gets me? Like, this can't be that, but I don't think it ever wanted to be that. Actually, does it just mean this can't turn this way at all? No, I don't think so. Uh, uh, it would just extend like some giant thing over back here. Row 10, 11, column 8 from connecting. Does it? Oh, are we looking at what happens in the world where I go like one further from this? Because when I sort of go further from there, then I end up with all of this happening. And I've got here an awful lot of gray, of course. That's going to have to be green. So we're going to have to come up like that. Yeah, and the green's going to have to come out through here because it's going to have to connect to the other greens. I was trying to figure out if there was something I was supposed to see about how, because like I did realize like it basically blocks off the entire bottom part, and I was trying to see if there was something I was supposed to say. Ah, yes, clearly it breaks because, but I think in fact this very well might be the solution. I don't think it actually is, but I don't. I don't see what, if there is a thing I'm supposed to see, I don't see what it was. Yeah, I was looking at sort of like how is green connecting through this column, because that it seems like green connecting through column 10 is going to be difficult. Uh 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 you want to think about row 9 column 8 being the only free space where the bottom left segment of the loop can get out if it doesn't connect to row 11 column 8. So yeah, so basically this end here needs to go somewhere, and the only places it can go because of orientation, it can't go there. It's got to go, it could go there, except we've proved it can't, because remember we said these two join. We've already proven that. So it either goes here or goes here. But the world where this connects there, I think, is fraught with problems. Because let's see, these are going to connect. The way they go is okay. Oh, you need 2 cells of width to escape, right? So the so what's going to happen to this end is the point. Yeah, the point is not just if this connects up here, yeah, what does that do to this? This just goes horribly. So basically, if you identify that because of the directed loop piece, this end only really has 2 places it can go, and going this place really strands this end, then I think it's not so bad to sort of see, yes, that has to do that. Which does make those both gray. Yeah, it's not the easiest thing to explain, but it feels like it's the sort of thing where if you didn't have to explain out loud in several paragraphs what was happening, that it might be more intuitive than it is easy to articulate. Okay, we've got... Yeah, those two are going to join either here or here. 9, column 8. Yeah, so the... Wait, only exit for what? This has got to get out, but it can get out there, right? And these don't have to get out. Oh, you meant, sorry, you were saying in the universe. Sorry, I was reading only your last comment. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If this comes up, uh, now I can't connect these, and so I've got to get this somewhere. But now the only place it can get out is through here, except now I've got two things going parallel to each other and I can't do that. So no doing that. So that doesn't happen. So that comes over here. Basically, I guess I could have said it as, I know this definitely connects to this. It might connect to that in a somewhat complicated way, but I know these connect because I otherwise would have to get this out over that, and that would involve two loops moving parallel. And so if these two are going to connect, the other end can't, which means we get this, which means that all of that is that, which means that this is green, which means that that turns there at least. Let's see. Okay. I believe that. Okay, so this still can't connect here because I just said this connects here. So if those two end up connecting, these two can't connect or I'd create a mini loop. So this has to turn up, which means that also turns up. So that means these are both green. Now, that at least has gotten some chance of getting green out. These still can't connect. I have to keep reiterating to myself. Yeah, I mean, I guess they can't connect for multiple reasons. They can't connect because it would create a mini loop, and they can't connect because it would do that. Yes, but this, people are saying this is the other way. If this turns this way, then I create a 2x2. So that doesn't work. So this goes up, which means that's gray. And now I will also, if this turns this way, now I will create the 4 greens of death again, so it doesn't go that way either. And so now this is unvisited as well. And so now this comes down, which gets me a gray there. Like that. These are greens because the greens need to connect. Okay. These are a gray-green pair again. Because if these are gray, it breaks connectivity. And if they're green, I create a mini loop. So one of these is gray and one of them is green. This just, here's an easier way. This just can't turn here, because if this turns here, it can't close the loop, so it turns down, but then this turns down, and then I get my 2x2 of green again. So that doesn't happen. So that means that goes down like that. So these are both gray. There's a more straightforward version of that, I think. So that makes this green, because we need to keep our greens connected. So this turns up. Okay, Sweet Blues was saying the same thing. This being in the loop would now be a problem, because if this is in the loop, I close the loop because it's a corner, so that doesn't work. So that means this turns. So that is green. And this had better not go straight down because that would also close the loop. So this turns like that, which gets me a green, green like that. And so now the gray needs to connect. So that is gray. Right. This can't go down or I'll create my forbidden pattern again. So this is unvisited, which means that this comes over here and closes like that. So these are both green. That is gray. So that needs to be gray for connectivity, and that needs to be green for connectivity. And there we are. Very nice puzzle as well. I quite enjoyed that loop shenaniganery. I'm cleaning up the X's so that we can admire the grid. That was a sweet puzzle. Lots of really cool sort of discovery there. I liked the sort of clockwise, counterclockwise assorted steps there. I particularly liked when we had, I think it was these two lines. Like this is a fairly early step, but it was really powerful that these two lines were going in opposite directions, so there could never be a line between them because it couldn't be going either way. That was very cool. Alrighty. Well, I'm going to wrap up stream there for today, but I had fun. I hope you had fun as well. Thanks for watching, everyone. Do please give this stream a thumbs up if you have not yet. And last but not least, big thanks to all the people who support the stream. Thank you to Plonketime for giving away the gift memberships at the beginning. That was much appreciated. If you want to support the stream financially, you can always do that by clicking the little $ button down at the bottom. We greatly appreciate all of you who choose to do that. You can see all of their names on the screens that go by. Castle in the Sky is the Faluda Impossible puzzle, right? That everyone talks about spending like 65 hours on. I bet I could break it a whole bunch of times. Last but not least, thank you to the Turbines, Daniel, David, Franco, Nell, Nordy, Plonketime, and DDX. I know I said last but not least twice, but you're just that special. Thank you, everyone. I look forward to seeing you all real soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.